Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. First, we're going to talk about Kiev and some important notes. According to CNN, they projected that the Ukrainians are able to hold the Russian attacks till the summer of 2024, if there are going to be no support from the Western countries. So if there are no support, the Ukrainians, according to the Western countries, will be defeated by the summer of 2024. But when talking about today, for example, we got also updates from the Western countries that Zaluzhny start preparation of the next counteroffensive operation that he's going to make in the 2024. So let's see. Also, another act of democracy is coming from Kiev. On this video we can see another event in the nightclub where the Ukrainian military authorities entered the building and started checking the documents of men in this club, and probably a lot of them were mobilized. And this is a very interesting video, and the most important part is that the Ukrainians, if you remember, we saw a lot of updates about mobilization from Odessa, from western part of Ukraine, from Kharkiv and so on, but we haven't seen any updates from Kiev. So something have changed in Ukraine according to mobilization policy, and as you can see, the Ukrainians started mobilization in Kiev as well. Also, another important update is coming, just important statistic note. According to information we have, Zelensky stayed abroad longer than in Ukraine. In 2023, he was abroad for more than 189 days. So more than half of days he was not on the territory of Ukraine, which also confirms the theory that Western countries tried to find a solution how to secure him, how to hide him from the Russian strikes, and they tried to keep him outside of Ukraine as long as possible. And the most important update is that, according to information we have, deliveries of F-16s to Kiev are postponed, and according to information, the Ukrainians gonna receive the F-16s somewhere for the summer of 2024. So as you can see, all these things are connected with each other. The CNN projection that Ukrainians might collapse by the summer, that the Western countries will provide Ukrainians some new military aid, big package of military aid in the summer, and that Zaluzhny also prepares his counteroffensive during the next year. So we'll see what is going to be next. Now we're moving to the south. We got a few interesting updates. During the previous night, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that they managed to shut down at least 31 drones that Ukrainians sent to attack Crimea. There were two waves. First wave include 26 drones, and the final wave includes 6 drones. All of them were shot down or jammed. But we understand that this is just like the first attempt to attack the first global wave. Obviously, the next stage is that during the next day, the Ukrainians will launch Storm Shadows or even Scalp cruise missiles. Very interesting video we got from Kherson direction. Very rare footage. According to information we have currently on the screen, you can see how the Russians technologies and how the Russians managed to shut down Ukrainian MiG-29 with a Russian MiG-31. A lot of questions I have. First of all these videos reminds me some Nintendo game from 18th of previous century or something like this, but this is the current Russian technologies. This is on this video, for example, we can see the red point is Ukrainian MiG-29, and as I understand, the green one on the bottom is the Russian MiG-31, and then the Russian MiG-31 launched missile, and we might see this missile on the screen on the left part. So this is the Russian things that they use and technologies to destroy the Ukrainian aircrafts. Very interesting. Now we are moving to the ground. We got a lot of very interesting updates, and the most important ones are coming from the south Donetsk direction between Marinka and Novomykhailivka. The Russians continue artillery preparations. They continue bombardments of the eastern part of Novomykhailivka. Obviously, we need to expect the beginning of the ground operation within the next few days. Maybe not during the weekend, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, but obviously the Russians will attack the village once again, and they will try to dig in deeper on the eastern outskirts of the village, because We got also very interesting update regarding the Russian progress. Most of the mappers have updated their maps showing the significant Russian progress on the southern part of Novomykhailivka. So, according to the most of the mappers, including Syriac and including Deep State map, the Russians managed to get these positions. So basically, this is already the outskirts of Novomykhailivka from the south. Obviously, the progress might be even better, even bigger, or something like this. And the next meters is already the meters inside of Novomykhailivka. Now we are moving to the north in direction of Marinka. As you can see, I have updated the map. Currently, this part of Marinka is under complete Russian control. But today, the Russians published the videos of Ukrainian counterattacks, at least a failed attempt of Ukrainian counterattack. The Ukrainians were using for those purposes armored vehicles, significant number of infantry, but the Ukrainians got into the ambush, into artillery pocket, and basically were completely destroyed and defeated, having significant level of losses. On this video, we will not open this icon. There are a picture of dead Ukrainian bodies exactly on this interception of roads. So the Ukrainians were defeated and were forced to step back to the north, to the far northwest part of Marinka. The Russians currently continue digging in deeper process, and after they complete, they will try to improve their positions further to the northwest of Marinka. Now we are moving to Avdiivka. We got also lots of interesting details during the previous night. Let's start from the southern direction. According to the Russian military expert Rybor, the Russians managed to completely liberate and establish control over Vinogradniki residential area. This is the area on the south of industrial area. I'm talking about this territory. So currently this region is under complete Russian control. Furthermore, other mappers are saying that the Russians continue advancing further inside of the city, and currently there are very heavy clashes for Kirova Street and for Lermontova Street. So according to some sources, this is the current Russian progress in the southern part of Avdiivka. For now, we haven't received even a single geolocation of that, so we will keep the map as is, but if we got something, of course, we will update the map as soon as possible. When talking about northern direction, the Russians continue storming and pushing the Ukrainians. We have few geolocations, mainly from the Ukrainian side. On this video, for example, we can see how the Ukrainian Bradley was trying to counterattack the Russians in the end stop of the railways on the north of chemical plant. As you can see, he was attacking the Russian forces with machine gun. After one wave of attack, the Ukrainian Bradley returned back to the mainland. So this video confirms the Russian progress, the edge positions, and the combat line. So the Russians, as I understand, according to that video, managed to dig in deeper in this area, and now they're getting prepared for the next attack to chemical plant or along the road, this tree line on the south of Stepova. For now, we haven't received any geolocations from the central or the western part of Stepova, so that's why we're keeping this village in the gray zone. And we got another video from the Ukrainians how they attack another Russian armored vehicle or another Russian positions with FPV drone on the eastern part of the village, which confirms that this is probably the exact picture on this territory. Now we are moving to Bakhmut Artyomov's direction. We have also lots of updates from this territory. So we have a lot of updates from the northern part and from the southern part as well. According to some Russian sources, as a result of offensive operation, the Russians managed to improve their positions on the top, on the north of 215.7 hill. So according to that update, this territory, these tree lines, this forest is under complete Russian control. And according to this information, we understand that the next Russian goal is to establish control over this forest. So this is the next Russian goal, the next Russian plan, probably for this weekend or maybe for the next week. And if the Russians are able to do this, of course, they will be able, by this attack, improve their positions and to reduce the Ukrainian possibilities to be flexible and mobile. And this will allow the Russians to start their movements to the north in direction of Ivanovska. And by the time the Russians can start this attack, as I understand, the Russians also want to establish complete control over the residential area by the name of Chernobylets, this one. From this territory we also got a lot of geolocations, which confirms the Ukrainian presence in this area. As you know, a lot of mappers have already updated their map showing this territory under Russian control, but every single day we continue receiving more and more geolocations with Ukrainian presence there, which confirms that this territory either on the gray zone or under Ukrainian control. On this scene we can see how the Russians attack another Ukrainian temporary position with FPV drone, and as a result of that strike the entire building was reduced to ruins. By the way, I mentioned that the Russians start using very powerful and very heavy drones with very heavy explosion. Also we got the same updates from the central part of this Chernobylets residential area. And you know that when I was watching this video, I found very interesting situation, and I've got answer to one important question. I believe everybody wants to know why the Russians prefer to attack and make significant offensive operation during the winter period of time, but not during the summer as Ukrainians do. And for example, this this scene can give us at least one answer. We can't explain the situation with just one answer or something like this. We can use a lot of benefits that the winter attacks brings to the Russians. And for example, if you take a look at this scene, take a look at the left bottom corner. You see there's the signs on the floor on the snow. This is the signs of Ukrainian road that Ukrainians use, let's say, from one position to another. And this is exactly one of the reasons why the Russians like to attack during the winter, why they like to use and to keep initiative during this period of time, because when you attack you always know for sure where exactly the Ukrainians have sniper positions, machine gun positions, mortar positions. Just take a look at this video. After the Russians managed to discover another Ukrainian temporary position and destroy it, the Ukrainians start running away from this territory, and they're doing the same thing. They were running along the same roads, and these roads you can see very well from drones, and you know for sure exactly another Ukrainian position. So this is one of the benefits that the Russians try to use during the winter period of time, to see the signs on the snow. It's the best intelligence. You don't need to use reconnaissance teams, you don't need to use even satellites or drones. You just need to follow these steps on the snow, and you can destroy the next or every single Ukrainian position. So very interesting tactics. Anyway, for now we are keeping this residential area in the gray zone, but obviously soon this territory will fall and the Russian will take control over it. When talking about Bogdanovka area, Khromova area, the Russians managed to improve their positions a little bit along Khromova and along the 8th water reservoir. This is the 8th water reservoir, and as you can see on the northern bank of this reservoir, the Russians managed to improve their positions, and the Russians continue advancing further inside of Bogdanovka and along the railways. For example, when talking about Bogdanovka this morning, a lot of Russian channels, Telegram channels, start publishing updates that the Russians were conducting a powerful artillery preparation west of Chasov Yar, west of Bakhmut, and east of Chasov Yar. So everything tells us that today the Russians will make few more attempts to establish control over the main hills in the vicinity of Bogdanovka. Maybe the Russians will be able to penetrate the Ukrainian defense belt and move further in direction of Chasov Yar. Who knows? When talking about Solidar direction, also we have some progress from the Russian side. According to information we have, the Russians managed to get very close to Razdolovka itself and to capture a few more strongholds on the way to this village. So they're like, the next step is to enter Razdolovka itself. And the Russians managed to improve their positions from the railways to the fortifications in the vicinity of Sporne. So we see that the Russians are trying to shorten their combat line, and obviously the next step might be another wave of attack in direction of Sporne. I expect that very soon the Sporne will be under very heavy offensive from the Russian side as well. We haven't received anything from Kupiansk-Liman direction, so for now it's very difficult to understand what exactly is going on there. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.